Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So last week we didn't have an episode due to the fact that we're looking at Aether Revolt really closely, but 2 weeks ago when we last saw the market, it was doing some unusual things. I mean, we saw a lot of Commander cards that were very popular, Frontier cards are very popular, and I kind of said that I feel like things are going to stabilize and get kind of back to normal as we get closer to Aether Revolt and Modern Masters 2017 coming out. And in some ways I was right, although what I didn't see coming was the surprise ban that came really a week earlier than the typical ban and restricted list updates that affected Standard in such a profound way. So today we're going to look at, as we always do, the top 5 cards up and down for Standard, Modern, and Legacy. We're also going to take a look at those banned cards and kind of say farewell to them and see how they were impacted by the banning this week too. So we got a lot to talk about, as well as some other potential buyouts that are going on. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We'll start off with Standard, as we always do, and we'll look at the top 5 cards that lost value, and at the end we'll say a fond farewell to 3 of our favorites. Coming in at number 5, Aetherworks Marvel, down 19 cents to $6.99, so very small loss, relatively insignificant. Number 4, Selfless Spirit, down 21 cents to $8.63, again very minimal. Coming in number 3, Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, down 32 cents to $27. Coming in number 2 is Archangel Avacyn, down 56 cents to $19.41. So all the cards we've seen so far, except for maybe Aetherworks Marvel, have been going down due to the fact that Reflector Mage was banned, and there's going to be a little bit of anxiousness around Blue-White Flash and whether that deck is going to continue to be a Tier 1 deck. And that's what you're kind of seeing here, although you're not seeing cards plummet in value or anything like that. So I think folks are in kind of a wait-and-see attitude. The deck was very strong and potentially could still be strong even in a new meta. So everyone's not ready to sell off their cards yet, but a lot of people are not necessarily investing in this deck at this time. And coming in number 1 is Grim Flare, and this is down 63 cents to $21. All right, so what did happen with the bannings? Well, of course, we saw Reflector Mage ban, like I mentioned, and this is down 5 cents to 98 cents. Now, this wasn't uncommon, and it was printed into Oblivion, so it wasn't a card that held a lot of value or necessarily lost a lot of value with the ban or anything like that, but it did, as we saw, have an impact on some other cards this week. Next, we have Smuggler's Copter, down $3.34 to $7.28. So a couple weeks ago, this was about $11, $12 card or so. So you can definitely see it lost a large percentage of its value over the last couple weeks with the banning. And finally, Emrakul, The Promised End. Farewell, Emrakul, down $3.34 as well this week to $16.51. A couple weeks ago, this card, of course, was around the $22, $23 mark. So again, another card that lost a fair amount of value due to the banning. All right, let's look and see what is going up this week in Standard. And a lot of what you're going to see here is speculation around what cards are going to interact very well with a lot of the Aether Revolt cards that will be coming out. Coming in number 5 is Nissa, Voice of Zendikar, up $1.27 to $7.03. I always felt Nissa was a little bit undervalued. This card really does a lot. It has a big impact on the board. It's not super hard to use the ultimate on this card either, considering how well it protects itself. Coming in number 4 is Torrential Gearhulk, up $1.29 to $15.14. Coming in number 3, Wandering Fumarole, and this one's up $1.97 to $7.96. Now, a lot of the interest in this card is due to the fact that it combos extremely well with a card that we saw previewed in Aether Revolt, and that's Crackdown Construct. Basically, 2-card combo that allows you to attack in one time with a really big Crackdown Construct. And if your opponent can't block it or deal with this combo at some point, they're kind of out of luck. So there's a lot of talk right now with perhaps a Jeskai combo deck out there that not only is running this combo, but another combo we'll look at in just a few moments. Coming in number 3 is Saheeli. I hope everybody got their copies of this a couple weeks ago. This week she's up $4.36 to $24.65. A couple weeks ago she was about a $6, $7 card. So this was a huge increase for this card, percentage-wise especially. So why all the focus? Well, if you've been watching the coverage on Aether Revolt, you already know the answer to that. And this is the other combo I was alluding to And this is the combo with her and Felidar Guardian. Basically creates a Splinter Twin type situation. So a lot of people brewing around this right now. And what's basically going to happen with this is going to go out into Standard. If it proves viable, these cards will continue to go up in value. If it does not and falls flat due to the fact that there's too much control, the combo's too fragile, something like that, then you'll see a decrease very quickly in Saheeli. So keep that in mind. However, I feel like the combo is pretty strong, and I think it's going to have some shelf life. And finally, coming in at number 1, Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, up 778 to 2174. So somebody had to replace Emrakul, right? There's always going to be the go-to big creature that these decks are looking to play, especially considering that the meta that we're coming out of just revolved completely around Emrakul. So a lot of decks are designed to do just that, cast something really big with a big impact. And Ulamog, arguably the next best thing. I mean, Indestructible 10/10, the mill effect can be very relevant, but maybe most importantly, the fact that when you cast it, this gets to exile 2 target permanents. That's actually a pretty big deal to the board state when you cast this card. So, yeah, no doubt this will be seeing plenty of Standard play going forward. It already sees Standard play as it is, and even sees a lot of play in a whole bunch of other formats. I mean, you name it, basically it's showing up there, from Modern to Frontier to even Legacy. So this is a pretty hot card. It's going to continue to be, and one of the reasons there's a big focus on this right now, other than the obvious, is the fact that this is a card that could pair really well with Inspiring Statuary and other of the Aether Revolt cards. So with this card, you're able to take a few artifacts, including the Statuary itself, and cheat Ulamog out even faster. All right, let's move on to Modern. So what is happening in Modern this week? Well, of course, we saw the 2 ban cards. We'll look at those at the end, but let's jump into the top 5 cards at loss value. Coming in number 5 is Krark Clan Ironworks, down $1.61 to $9.49. Now you're going to see a little bit of this. Some of the cards that were really hot over the last couple months due to the Commander 2016 push are going to start falling back down. So this is an example of that. You'll see a couple others too. Coming in number 4 is Master Transmuter, down $1.79 to $18.99. Much like the last card, this was a card that was used to upgrade the Invent Superiority deck quite often, and starting to cool down a little bit now. Coming in number 3, Tarmogoyf from Future Sight, down $2.38 to $139.29. The other trend you're going to see this week are cards that potentially could see a reprint. Modern Masters 2017. Tarmogoyf, definitely a likely candidate since it was in the previous 2 Modern Masters. And the same with Noble Hierarch. This was in Modern Masters 2015, but that was actually the only reprint this card's seen, so it is still very healthy right now. The Modern Masters 2015 version going down $1.77 to $63.44, with Conflux going down $3.10 to $63.24. And finally, coming in at number 1, Modern Masters Doubling Season, down $4.76 to $63. Yeah, sure, this potentially could be reprinted in the next set, although I kind of have my doubts. The main reason this is going down at this point is because this spiked really, really hard due to the fact that a lot of folks wanted to pick up copies after they bought the Breed Lethality Commander 2016 deck, and this was kind of a no-brainer to put in there. This thing spiked all the way up to almost $70 a couple weeks ago, so it's just starting to come back down to normal right now, but normal for this card is probably not going to be much lower than 60, quite honestly. Okay, let's look at the 2 cards that we have lost for Modern this week, and we'll say goodbye to Gitaxian Probe. Now, this is kind of expensive for a common, but it is still a common, so it's only lost 32 cents, down to $3.80. And finally, Golgari Grave Troll, down $1.73 to $9.84. All right, let's move into the cards that are hot this week in Modern. Now, there's a couple potential buyouts I'll point out to you, and what's interesting is they're actually Commander cards. So the fact that the last few months of the market have all been about Commander lends me to think that there's some speculators out there that are going out and trying to pick up some cards they feel could be popular in Commander, and they're really starting to dry up. So you're going to see a little bit of that on the list. Coming in number 5, Hokari Dust Drinker, up $3.18 to $8.99. Now, if you ever played against the Dust Drinker in Commander, it isn't always fun. It's more for a very spiky Commander deck, and there's nothing really going on gameplay-wise to change the value of this card, but it has gotten pretty dry in the usual locations, which makes me think it's probably due to a buyout. Coming in number 4, 10th edition Brushland, up 325 to 1849. This card's getting a little bit hot again. Coming in number 3 is Golgari Thug, up 339 to 602. So this is basically a replacement for Golgari Grave Troll in the Dredge deck in Modern. So I think it will be a decent replacement. I don't think Dredge is really going anywhere. It's been a very strong deck. And yes, it's taking a little bit of a hit here, but I think this is a fine replacement. Coming in number 2 is Coalition Relic from Future Sight, up 567 to 1898. So this is a huge, huge commander card. And almost surprising that this was not printed at least in one of the Commander 2016 decks. But I think what's strange about this now is it's spiking. Here we are a couple months after those decks came out, and a lot of the other cards are going down in value, and all of a sudden people are just noticing this. I'm not really buying that. This feels like a buyout to me. And if you look in the regular places, this card is getting very, very scarce. So again, I think it's due to the fact that Commander was so popular, it's turned some speculators' attention to cards like this. I mean, this is a perfect target for a buyout if you're thinking along the lines of Commander, and I think that's what we're seeing here. But hopefully this card gets a reprint soon, maybe even in Modern Masters 2017. That would be good to help keep the value of this card down and more stable, because at this point, it's approaching $20, which is pretty crazy. Coming in number 1 is Ugin the Spirit Dragon, up 819 to 35.95. There's always a lot going on with Ugin. This is a card that sees a lot of casual play, commander play, but also sees more competitive play in Modern, especially in the Tron decks. But here's the deal currently with Ugin. We saw a lot of cards previewed in Aether Revolt that has made folks think that mid-range decks are going to become stronger in Modern, with cards like Fatal Push coming out, stuff like that. Now, Tron is actually a pretty good matchup against mid-range decks, so that has a lot of folks turning back to Tron, and this card is kind of reaping the benefits of that at this point. So this is definitely one to watch, especially as the Modern metagame evolves over the next few months, and then of course with Modern Masters coming out, this is a card that cannot be reprinted in Modern Masters because it came out in Fate Reforged. That makes it a very safe investment and definitely one to keep an eye on. All right, let's move on to Legacy, and we'll jump in with the top 5 cards that lost value this week. Coming in number 5 is Jemede Tome, down 661 to 53.97. This is the unlimited version, of course, and I think this is basically just an odd blip on the radar. Nothing to really see here. Coming in number 4 is Singing Tree from Arabian Nights, down 1271 to 34.37. This card's been spiking pretty hard recently, so it appears like maybe this was a target of a buyout and is starting to go back down as the copies are being reintroduced to the market. Coming in number 3, Candelabra of Tawnos, down 1725 to 479.99. Number 2, Urza's Miter, down 1791 to 12.99. Another target of a buyout recently, a reserve list card that was kind of obscure. It saw a real hard spike a few weeks back and is coming down very quickly. And finally, coming in number 1 is Tropical Island, down 1978 to $350.40. Of course, this is the unlimited version. All right, let's look at the cards that have gained value this week. And I actually included 6 cards this week because I thought number 6 was actually kind of interesting. Looks like it's a target of a buyout. So coming in number 6, your honorable mention is Unmasked from Mercadian Masks, up 1427 to 2249. Now this is a card that sees play in Legacy Reanimator, and yeah, that deck's pretty good. It's not going away or anything like that, but there's nothing gameplay wise that has changed over the last few weeks that has made this card hotter, other than the fact that it's starting to dry up, which again is an indicator of a buyout, and I think that's what's going on here. Coming in number 5 is City of Brass, and this is up 1619 to 132.99. So this Arabian Nights version of the card continues to be pretty hot. Coming in number 4 is Jazam Jin, up 1852 to 475. Another Arabian Nights card that continues to be strong. Has been sitting between the $450 and $500 range now for a little while. Coming in number 3, Unlimited Plateau, up 2121 to 179.50. Coming in number 2 is Howling Mine from Unlimited, up 2739 to 84.50. There's a little bit of interest right now in this card for Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited versions. And finally, coming in at number 1, the Tabernacle at Pendrevale, up $56.01 to $1,259.99. So Tabernacle's still doing its thing around the $1,200 mark. All right, so having said that, that is the Market Watch for this week. We'll be back next week, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen, especially as we move closer to the Pro Tour. One big question that I have is, now that we know that there's going to be another banned and restricted list update 5 weeks after the Pro Tour every season, is that going to mute the confidence in buying of some of the cards that we see in the Pro Tour? That's going to be a question that we'll know the answer to, I guess, sooner than later. But I'm really interested to see what happens there. I mean, on one hand, I think a card that performs well should be fine, and you probably won't see much of a change. But a card that performs very, very well and sort of dominates, that's a card that potentially could be banned, and buyers' confidence in that card could go down a little bit. So I'm really intrigued to see how that unfolds more than anything over the next few weeks and coming months. But until next time, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. This video is made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.